Yeah, I was joking at the start. I said the pay packet at Erebus might not look too bad about how hard I've been worked this year at Triple Eight.
Hello and welcome to the 2024 season of the KTM Summer Grill. My name is Andrew Van Leeuwen and I'm joined by Stefan Bartholomeus. And our first guest is none other than the 2024 Supercars champion, Will Brown. Will, how does that sound? Supercars champion, has it kind of sunk in yet? You've had a few weeks to reflect on it now.
Yeah, I think it's starting to sink in. It's still very surreal, to be honest. But yeah, I've had a few weeks. I'm glad to have all the Bucks parties and end of year celebrations over and just be back home. I'm working, but at least I'm back to a normal routine.
Talk a bit about going into the season because you get this call up with the biggest and best team in the sport. You know that there's every chance that you're going to have a car capable of winning week in, week out. Is there ever any kind of, I don't know, self doubt about, whether you're going to be able to execute once you find yourself in that situation?
Yeah, I think from a driver's point of view, there's always a little bit of self doubt that you think, oh, you want to make sure you perform. But I also am pretty confident as well in the job I can do. I think coming off the back of my season last year, I know the end of the season didn't finish well, but I won 5 races last year, and I was pretty confident. I was jumping in with Red Bull Ampol Racing, which I believe is the best team in the category, pretty much over the last 20 years. So my attitude was that if I didn't win the championship or come second to Brock this year, I didn't feel like I'd probably let the team down in a way. To be honest, I would have felt like so. That was my biggest call last year when I got the phone call from Jamie. Was I thought this was a place that I could win championships at for years to come and have the opportunity to win Bathurst as well, and that's why I jumped at the opportunity.
Having come into the team this year, you're well placed to answer this. What does make them so good? What were they doing that when you arrived or through the first part of the season, you were like, oh, wow, this is how they do it?
Yeah, I think it's, to be honest, at Triple Eight, it's when you walk through the front doors, you start understanding why they've won so much stuff. But it's the people they have there, the processes, probably the procedures as well. All of those things is they just have everything down to a fine art, and they don't change what they do. It's meticulous, and it's sort of like, to be honest, it's nearly like a bit of an army style there, the way they go about their racing. So it's been something for me to learn this year because I haven't gone about my racing like that before. It was I didn't even own a laptop last year, so for me, looking at data and all of that and the amount of meetings that they do, it took me a while to adjust at the start of the year and get used to that. But yeah, for me, I went in eyes open. I thought these guys have done such a good job over their whole history with Triple Eight that I've got to learn their way, and that's what I went with.
Really, for the team, what was new for them was having two drivers at a very similar time of their career, similar age. Did you recognise before the start of the season that Brock was likely to be your closest championship contender?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Obviously, people like Cam and Chaz could have, did have a great year as well. But I knew Brock would be very fast. He was finding his feet, I think, last year, and really starting to, stick it to Shane throughout the year. So yeah, I knew he'd be quick. I backed myself to try and beat him, but yeah, he does a fantastic job, and I think a few things might not have gone his way this year, but yeah, he was a tough competitor, that's for sure.
As you sort of touched on, that meticulous approach that Triple Eight has is obviously labour intensive on your side as well. I'm guessing there's a fair bit of homework that comes along with trying to be that competitive so consistently. You still work a normal job. How do you strike that balance? And is for someone like yourself, is having a normal job an important part of how you go about the racing part of your job as well, or balance your life?
Yeah, I was joking at the start. I said the pay packet at Erebus might not have looked too bad about how hard I've been worked this year at Triple Eight. But no, it's been great. They do an awesome job with their partners. Obviously, they offer up a lot of our time to support our partners and sponsors at Red Bull Ampol. But for me, a big part of my racing is getting back home. It sort of takes all the stress out of it. I go home. It sounds silly, but people joke. But I do sell cars. We've got a trucking business between me and Dad now as well. And this week I've been starting at 5 a.m. driving the truck, finish at 9, and then go work at the car yard till 5. So it's for me. It's no pressure. I'm not thinking about the racing. I'm not stressing about it or anything like that. I'm just sort of having my time off. So I really enjoy that side of it. I think I'll do it for a long time. The hardest thing is, if you have a bit of an off year, people will say you're working too hard or you're away and not focused on motorsport enough. So I've had that before as well. But yeah, I enjoy it. I think I do my best work. There's obviously a balancing act, but no, I enjoy getting home and having that off time as well.
There's obviously been, it's Brock had a good year as well. He won a lot of races. He won more races than you did, but you just had this amazing consistency, like a podium at every single event throughout the whole year. Was that part of any sort of pre-planned approach? Like, I'm going to have a fast car. If I can just keep finishing up the front or near the front, I can win a championship.
Yeah, I think there was, you pre-plan to try and win every race. So, it's one of those things. But, yeah, I don't know. My engineer, Andrew Edwards, has a very good approach with going racing. And he always says, top 5 at every race wins you the championship. Now, it was great that we nearly did that for the year and got a podium at 19 of the events. But, looking back on the year, I'm a bit disappointed I didn't get the most race wins, to be honest. I think my qualifying performances let me down. Brock was just stronger in qualifying throughout the year, and that's the honest truth. So that's something that I want to work on throughout the year and throughout next year and get my qualifying a lot further up. But yeah, I was stoked with the way the year went and the consistency.
One of the other exciting parts of your year was getting to go over and do a NASCAR Cup race there at Sonoma. It didn't work out how you would have wanted with some electrical problems, but are you working hard to try to get back there and do a couple of races next year?
Yeah, definitely. I've been trying to put a deal together to get back there. It was an awesome event. Felt like I had really good pace and could actually race quite hard and end up the front against those guys over there. So yeah, a little bit disappointed with how that one ended, but trying to put together, it might not be 2 deals exactly in, I'd love it to be in Cup Series, but I'll be trying to do as many races over there as I can, and that, I can put together. But who knows? It might be one in Cup Series and then one in Xfinity, but yeah, just trying to work that out right now.
Is there any kind of broader plans to race overseas, whether it's one-off appearances in other categories around the world or some sort of longer-held NASCAR ambition on a full-time basis?
No, I don't think there's any full-time ambition there or that sort of thing to go over. And you never say never, but I'm pretty happy with the situation I've got myself in over here, and I wouldn't want to jeopardize that by trying to do that. But yeah, I think for me, it's just getting a bit of a fix, to be honest. Getting to go over there and race against those guys a couple of times a year, I'd be happy with. If I could go and do 2 NASCAR races a year, it's I know I'm racing and it's like work, but I just enjoy it like a holiday. You go over, you see new things, you get to visit new workshops and just meet new people. So I love that side of it. It doesn't have to be NASCAR, these overseas races only, but yeah, I'm definitely always looking to sort of want to compare myself against the best around the world, not only in Australia.
And you're going to be jumping into an open wheel over the summer doing Formula Regional in New Zealand. What's the attraction there?
Yeah, it was a weird one. I was on my cycling bike downstairs and I've got a TV there, and I was watching the Formula 3 race this year, and I thought, God, I did Formula 4. I was sort of wondering which path to take. I took the Supercars path because I love Supercars, and also it was more affordable, to be honest, as well. It was, I felt like I could get there, and the cherry was there where open wheel is overseas so tough. So, yeah, I had plans in 2017 to actually go do the TRS series, and didn't come about due to budget. So I was just watching F3 and thought, I want to get back in an open wheel. How can I make this happen? So I reached out to the guys over there, and it was right on the point of when they were Tony Quinn was taking over the rights to for the categories over there. So yeah, it took a few weeks and went back and forth, and pretty excited to be racing over there in the series. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Is there any more pressure going there as the Supercars champion? I know they have big names coming and going all the time, but everyone's going to want to beat the Supercars champion.
Yeah, I don't know. There's obviously some great young open wheel drivers. They might not even know what racing I've done or anything like that. But having Red Bull all over the car is going to be more nerve wracking. They'll be thinking, "Who's this guy?" But no, it'll be cool. Having Red Bull support it, and going and doing those races will be awesome.
You might have Christian Horner's name flashing up on your phone by the end of it. You never know. You've done a fair bit of GT racing as well this year. Where do things sit in terms of doing more of that next year, and in particular the Bathurst 12 hour?
Yeah, for me, I think I've said it. In this interview and before, I want to do as much racing as I can. I felt like this year my consistency in supercars came from that. Every time I hopped in the car, I felt like I could get on the pace straight away because I've been racing the weekend before. But yeah, for me, we'll be doing the 12 hour. That's always the plan each year, to try and do the 12 hour from now on. So excited to be doing that. Can't say who with yet, but looking forward to that. And then I haven't got anything locked away for the GT series again. Just waiting to see if anything pops up there. I really enjoyed it. To be honest, it's less pressure than the supercars and enjoyable racing. And I like doing that. So we'll just wait and see what pops up throughout the year, and if I do end up on the grid for the GTs.
Surely after chasing your mate Chaz Mostert and his very quick Ferrari around all season this year in the GTs, you might like to team up with him at Bathurst?
Yeah, I'd be keen to team up with him. Actually, I don't know, Chaz. No, I had his Bucks party the other week, so who knows? But the Ferraris are obviously an awesome car, mega. So any of those opportunities would be awesome if they pop up. Obviously, that team as well. They're throwing some serious amount of I guess money, but also personnel and all that there. So getting in one of those cars would be pretty cool.
Now, I think we can safely assume that yourself and Brock will be contenders in Supercars next year because you drive for Triple Eight and they're always there or thereabouts. Who do you feel could be the guys that you're going to be racing? Obviously, we have a new format coming in. You will be, there will be 4 people going to the last day in contention. Who do you think are going to be your biggest threats when it comes to defending your championship next year?
Yeah, I think that we've got, I'm going to go Brock, myself, Brody, Chaz, Cam, Matt Payne. I reckon that'll be the final 6. I'm going to say I may have missed someone there. I think Ryan Wood as well. I think he'll step up a bit next year. But they're probably the guys. I also think Thomas Randall's doing a really good job lately. So I think that's sort of the 8 probably there that I would watch throughout the year, and I would think will be there at the end of next year. There's always people that step up though. At the end of the day, there'll be someone that pulls it out of nowhere, or a team that steps up. Even Team 18 in Reynolds and Anton are good drivers. But my honest thing is Chaz and Cam are always the ones that are going to be standouts.
You rattle off that fairly remarkable list of racing driver talent. Is it nice to sort of think that they go into next season going, we got to beat Will Brown?
It is weird, to be honest, because I used to look up to Reynolds and think, God, like he does such a good job. Like when I was co-driving for him and all that, and now to be I guess luckily this year I was able to beat him. But I used to look at those sort of guys and think it'd be great to get one day to their level, and now to have them chasing me next year, and that is amazing. Those guys are all at a high level though. Like at the end of the day, you got to have a great team around you to win a championship, and that's what I put. That's what happened this year with me being with Red Bull Ampol. But it's been a crazy change over the last 4 years to go from a co-driver to now winning the championship.
How do you feel about this new finals format for next year, and do you think it'll change the way you approach the championship at all?
I think people might race a bit harder. It doesn't really matter as much if you get a DNF. I think that it's not as critical. So yeah, I think the racing will be a little bit harder. It's I think that it sounds a little bit silly, but I think that for us, we're probably the ones that should be most disappointed about the new final system because the team's so consistent throughout the year. So it just gives the opportunity for more teams to be there and win the championship at the end of the year. But I'm all for that. Making the entertainment more exciting, the pressure even more at Adelaide. It'll be cool, but it's definitely going to make it harder to win a championship, I think.
Does it kind of make it maybe not more important, but is it nice to have got one away under the old system that obviously did work very well for a team as consistent as Triple Eight? You've taken that last opportunity to win a title.
Yeah. I think it's always great to win the title, especially that it's the last year of that point system. And yeah, it'll be interesting on the new points the way it goes. I think the hardest thing is that the way I look at it, and it is funny, some drivers do a little bit better job at different tracks, and I think Brock loves Adelaide, and so does Chaz. So my thing going forward is I'm more than happy to race there and think that I can win a championship there, but be interesting if that happens for 2 or 3 years, if you then have to change the track for the final race. Because, I don't know if you could hold the finals there just for the next 10 years.
You've got some cool memorabilia there in the background, including your first win podium photo up on the wall. Have you got the championship trophy at home, or has the team given you anything else cool to sort of remember the season by?
Not as yet. I'll probably try and get a few of my trophies throughout the year and that sort of stuff. I did have the championship trophy and the Adelaide 500 trophy up here last weekend, and my supercar to display to all the local Toowoomba people and that sort of stuff. But no, I've got my race suits getting framed as memorabilia and all that sort of stuff. I love keeping my helmets, but I like keeping all that sort of stuff.
How was that celebration? It was at the dealership, right? It was at the car dealership that you did that.
Yeah, it was
celebration?
pretty cool. We didn't want it to be too crazy because it was my family that put it on. So the truck driver brought the car up from Triple Eight, but there was no extra crew coming up to support it. So we ended up getting 1,000 people. So that was pretty cool. It was great that so many Toowoomba people wanted to come out and have a look at the car and say hello.
Is it true that you've got some of your older memorabilia and carts and things in a disused morgue somewhere?
Yeah. I'm on one side of we've got a car yard here and one over the road, and it's an old morgue, the old building at the back, which used to be quite nice. Like, we dressed it up and had it all with its bays to prep the go-karts and all that sort of stuff. But fortunately, over the years since not go-karting, they've filled it with all used car parts from the car yard. But it's an old morgue. It's a bit of I remember I was always scared to go in there when I was a kid unless Dad was around, and that it's a creepy old place.
Well, Will, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the KTM Summer Grill, and best of luck for the 2025 Supercar season.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the KTM Summer Grill. With each episode, we are giving away one of these cool KTM goodie bags. Don't miss your chance to win. If you're watching via Speak Cafe, enter your details below. If you're watching on YouTube, the link is in the description.